Should I put my arm around you?
Sure.
So weird.
Fake affection.
Fake affection.
Well, hello.
What's up?
How you doing? How
Pretty
you
good.
doing?
Oh. Anyways, we're this is a new setup. We haven't really figured out where we're at home is what I was trying to say, but we haven't really figured out where we want to do these videos in our new house yet.
Yeah.
So we're just sitting on the couch because it's the most comfortable spot.
And it's almost really perfect for what we want to talk about today.
Why is that?
Because it's a nice chill way for us to relax, let you in on a few thoughts that we've been having throughout this pregnancy.
But before we do that, we want to show you a couple things. We finally bought some baby stuff, and this is my contribution. A Blink-182 onesie from the concert that I went to. I don't think I showed it in the video that I made on my own channel because I wanted to save it for our channel. I only bought one onesie.
But we're having two.
Twosies.
Not four, two.
But they only had one color, so I didn't want to buy two of the same color and then confuse who is who.
Yes.
That's gonna be a problem.
Because we don't know yet if they're identical or fraternal, so we might need other ways to tell them apart.
I'm gonna buy an Elvis. I'm gonna set
Whoa.
up here. Whoa. I'm gonna buy an Elvis. Did I say Elvis? Or the Beatles? Or another Blink-182 one. There's lots of options for the second one. So, and we also bought this yesterday. That's out of focus. Bring it back here.
Okay.
There we go.
There?
Nope. Keep coming.
There?
Sure.
It is a journal to document thoughts before the babies get here, thoughts when they get here,
Pictures, most
Pictures.
importantly.
things in the news on the day that they are born. But you'll notice again, we only bought one.
Yeah, it's because they don't really have, at least that we've seen yet, a book made for twins. It's probably not very popular, so we'll squeeze a lot of pictures in there, no problem. So those are the first baby things that we've bought in the pregnancy. It's only two little things. We haven't bought a crib, we haven't painted the room, we haven't done any of that kind of stuff yet. There's still 3 months to go, but I think it's probably fairly common that we haven't bought anything and that people probably wait until this time to do that.
Yeah.
Why do you think they wait? I know why we've waited. Well, why didn't you say why we waited? Why have you waited?
It's probably the same reason that other people wait.
How come you haven't bought anything yet?
I don't know. I think for one reason it's because there's always this underlying fear that something could go wrong. That you're so excited that there's two of them that you go out and buy two of everything if you want two of everything, and then something happens and two people don't come out.
Yeah, well, I mean, or one if you're having one, but I think the idea that you're trying to get across is that once you start buying stuff, it kind of makes it real, and then if something does ever end up going wrong, knock on wood, then you have to take it away from yourself. You have to actually take something physical away from yourself, and that makes it probably a lot harder. And a lot of those fears are rational fears because this is it's an evolving thing, and you never know how it's going to work out. So so maybe you don't buy a bunch of stuff until you need it, which makes sense. But some of those are irrational or maybe just emotional. That's what we want to talk about today, is some thoughts, the scary parts of pregnancy that we've gone through so far, and just how we've dealt with them.
When we first found out that we were pregnant, both of our parents actually said, don't announce it until you're 12 weeks. And I think that's a common theme amongst people that are expecting, is that scientifically, once you reach the 12-week mark, your chances of miscarrying go down by a significant amount. And so it's safer at that point to tell people that you're expecting. And I remember us having this conversation when we found out and not wanting to wait until 12 weeks until we shared it with everyone.
Yeah, we didn't want to wait because we couldn't wait. We like talking about ourselves a lot, if you haven't noticed. But also because of the positives of telling people. The positives of telling people are bringing them in and you know, not being afraid of the unknown, because life has so many unknowns that if you're afraid of all of those, then, and this is our opinion, you might have a different opinion, but then it makes, for me at least, makes it a little more difficult to live life. But you had another good point about why you share.
Yeah, well, okay, two reasons. The first one for us is that the day we found out, we actually waited 1 week until we told our family. That 1 week of not telling our family was the hardest week that I've ever had to go through because we were so excited, and every time we talked to anyone, I just wanted to yell it. And so that was one reason for me to not want to wait 12 weeks because I was so excited and I didn't think that holding it in was worth it at that point. And the other reason was because shortly after we did tell them, I can't remember what scan it was, but at my doctor, when she was just listening for the heartbeats, one of the heartbeats was
Not there.
Not there. She couldn't tell if it was really low or if something had happened to the baby, or if maybe it was just her machine that wasn't reaching far back enough. It could have been hiding behind the other baby, but for whatever reason, one baby's heart rate wasn't there. And that was crushing in the moment just to hear that. But then she said we ended up having to wait 2 days before an emergency ultrasound. And those were the hardest 2 days that I think we've had to go through so far. But the reason that we're talking about sharing with other people is because right away we did tell my parents and his parents and our brothers and future sister, Sarah, about it because...
Future sister Sarah.
Shout out Sarah. We were equally as taken aback, just as equally as excited we were to find out that we were pregnant, that this was happening. And it was their support, I think, that made it a lot more bearable for us.
Yeah, and then we got to be the people that put on the strong face and let them be more scared than us. So it you said kind of lets people into the experience and shares that with them, and whether they want to share the griefs or not, it makes it a lot easier for everyone. I don't know. When I hold things in, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
So I don't like holding things in. I like sharing, and that way it's kind of like a weight off your chest, no matter how good or bad it is. Luckily, we haven't had to deal with much of the bad stuff or the negative stuff just yet. That was one instance, and really we haven't really had any other instances yet up until recently where we have, I think, shared in our last video that when we went to the last doctor's visit, we found out that the last scan that we had showed that one of the twins, we're not actually quite sure which one it is just yet, because our A's and B's are getting mixed up, but we'll figure that out soon. One of the twins doesn't have the umbilical cord attached directly into the middle of the placenta, and I'm showing you like this, right?
Where
placenta,
it should be.
Middle. It's kind of off to the side where there's less placenta and just more membrane, and so not as many nutrients are getting through, because the placenta is where the nutrients obviously get shared. If you didn't know, then now it's obvious. So we found out that to make sure that baby comes out as safely as possible, we have to deliver via C-section, and so obviously that made things a little scarier, that there was a little bit of a complication that we found out about, but we wanted to share that with our parents, our family and friends, and everyone else.
So yeah, if there were any complications or things that we needed to worry about, we know that after sharing it with you guys and our families, that we're gonna have support to go through whatever comes our way.
But with that being said, the doctor said that there really isn't a risk of miscarriage if you do things right, or stillbirth, if you do things right and do the C-section and there are no more complications. It's just that the baby that has the umbilical cord issue might come out a little smaller and might need a little bit more care.
Since sharing with the world and some of my coworkers and family members about having a C-section, a question that I've regularly gotten is, how do I feel about that? And am I sad that it's not the other way? And I think I've been sharing with Shahid a lot that I'm really not, and I'm actually surprised at how not disappointed I am that it can't be the other way, because right from the beginning, when we found out it was twins, we were fortunate enough that our technician told us that choosing the way that we delivered wasn't going to be solely our decision. It was going to be dependent on how the babies aligned themselves at the end of the second trimester. And I think since that point, it's just been in my head that whatever is safest, whatever is healthiest, whatever makes them the happiest was something that I was 100% okay with. And that stayed true even after finding out it was a C-section. I've allowed myself to really acknowledge the fact that it's safest for them and safest for me, and I honestly can't be any more happy than I am right now, and so excited that soon we're gonna have a date that we're gonna know exactly when we get to meet these little guys. And
Yeah, I haven't really had much to share throughout the process. I usually keep things close to the vest, even though we have this channel and I do a lot of things out in the public. But there are some things that I don't share, but there are some fears that I have had throughout this process, and they've mainly been kind of the stereotypical male fears of whether you're going to be able to provide financially, mainly is one of the fears, but then also emotionally, because I've obviously dealt with, as we've documented here on this channel, some mental health and depression issues. And one of the things that actually was deterring me from even trying to conceive was the fear that I might somehow pass that on to my kids. And I did kind of wait until I felt like I was in a really good spot that I could really confidently say that I was over those issues. But if you've dealt with them, you know that you're never really over them, and they're kind of personality traits that you deal with on an ongoing basis. And so those fears are kind of still there, that, you know, maybe I'm not emotionally as ready to be a parent, and the fears that I might pass something like that on. I'm trying to deal with them by sharing and continuing to talk about them, but those are just things that I think come along with the whole journey. If you ask almost anyone who goes through the journey, they're all going to have these little things, maybe these ones or maybe different ones that pop up, and these are just some of ours.
Yeah, and I think that we're on the right track. We're sharing, we're talking, we're starting to buy things, which is making this really exciting for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm growing and they're moving, and
that's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. He's felt them. He's actually the only one that's felt them move around. I've been trying to get other people to feel them, but they're just shy. So we'll see what it's like when they come out.
And we're gonna do some slow-mo video of the belly when they're bigger and inside and punching out. And I'll share that for sure.